Let's draw Pikachu. Today's lesson is going to be a little bit beyond beginner, maybe intermediate, because we're going to do this entire scene. We're going to do Pikachu first, and that's kind of a beginner lesson. And then we're going to do the background, and that might be a little bit more like beginner plus one level up. So let's get started. Today I am using this paper. This is Canson XL watercolor paper, 140 pounds. That's what this sheet is. Still going to use my favorite pencil, and I'm going to use these watercolors, which we've been using on most of our lessons recently, Chromatech. And then I'm going to use these Tombow. These are gray watercolor, all those grays. I call them the shadow markers. And then if we need to get a little bit brightness with the flowers in the front, we might switch to some POSCA markers. So let's get started. So if you want to, you can watch this on ×2 as we sketch it out. We might make mistakes, we might need to erase, but we're going to try to do the best we can. And we're going to do a little bit like a bigger scene. So I'm going to start sketching Pikachu by starting with his head. I'm going to make him about like this big, right there. And this ear comes up. Has that shape, and then this ear is over here a little bit. Has about that shape. Make a line over here, and make a line here, about like that. And then Pikachu's face is pretty round, so I'm gonna very, very lightly make a circle-ish like this. And this eye is almost directly underneath that ear. So I'm going to make it about right here. And again, I'm just doing really lightly in case I got to erase and move it. And Pikachu's eye is almost perfectly round, so we'll try to get that perfectly round. Might not be that big, but we can change that. And the other eye is a little higher in this picture and not quite to the ear, so we'll come to about here. About like that. Okay, and then the nose, a little bit of a triangle-y, upside down triangle like that. And then Pikachu's mouth has that kind of like smiley shape at the top. Just about like that, like a mustache. And then a U. Just like that, a U. And then there's two colors inside Pikachu's mouth for his tongue. So we're just going to make an upside down short U like that. And then that will be the tongue, like that. Then you got bright, happy cheeks. One a little bit below this eye. And one a little bit below this eye, like that. All right, and we're going to get this face just a little better because this side's a little bit straighter. That's a little bit straighter, and this is a little bit rounder, about like that. All right, let's get his body. And his body is almost maybe a little bit bigger than his head. So we're going to remember about this shape, and then we're going to come and make a longer, stretched out circle to get the approximate size of his body, and then we'll start there. So he's got his hands joined, almost joined here in the center, almost under this side of his mouth. So imagine a line that comes down to about here, and that'll be about where his hands are joined. So let's look close and see if he's got a couple little fingers. I'm not going to count those. There's about 4 or 5. So I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. And then on the other side, pointing in that kind of about the same angly direction. Then it's a little bit of a curvy for this hand. Kind of curves like that. Kind of curves like that. And then this one's the same. Kind of curves like that. kind of curves like that. It goes a little bit further because we're going to try to get that arm to get to the outside of his body. So we're going to do his body, and now we see that it kind of comes almost straight down. We're going to make it a little bit curvy like this. And then we got to get to the bottom of his body is almost straight and a little loopy, about like that. And then the rest of his body comes down here almost straight and a little bit of an angle like that. And then one foot, oops, I'm covering up the drawing here. Sorry about that. And then one foot comes over here. It's just a little foot shape like that. And the other foot comes out over here, also a little bit of a foot shape like that. And then his tail sticks out here, one out, one up, then one out, one over, and then a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, and then out, and then this one comes up a little further like this, and his tail is almost even with his cheek. So let's get that to about there, and that's going to be the top of his tail. Comes down about like this. About like that. If you want to, you can make that change just a little bit. All right, I'm going to get a bigger eraser and erase some of our circly lines. There we go. Now I can fill in easily that. And then remember, Pikachu almost comes straight down like this. And then on this side, it comes around a little bit closer to that cheek. Keep going further. Then comes in, and then kind of whips out like that. There we go. Hey, Pikachu. Let's get this line out. Okay, so let's fix this eye. It's just a little bit smaller. I was trying to make it about that size, but it's a little lower. About like that. There we go. There's Pikachu. All right, so what we like to do is to get our favorite liner. And I like these Tombow liners, and I always use the one that has the soft tip. Just a little easier to sketch with. Now I'm going to go over a pencil. Then because we're going to make a little more effort, we're going to erase any pencil lines that show up. So let's go about in the same order. So we did this first, then we did this ear, about like that. We did this ear, like that. Do the outside of his body all the way around is what I'm going to do. Then get his little feet, this foot. Let's see. Let's look real close. See if he's got toes on those feet. Kind of on this one. Try to get the line. There we go. And let's see if I'm happy with his hands. His hands could be a little higher, so when I'm gonna pen them, I'm gonna use this as a reference, but I'm gonna move it up just a little bit. So this, I'm gonna curve like that. Then I'm gonna curve like this. Then I'm gonna make the fingers about right here. Same with this one. Move it up a little further. Make the fingers a little bit further up. And then I can erase the pencil marks here. That turned out okay. This hand's a little bit fat, but that happens sometimes when you're an artist. All right, I'm gonna do his tail next. Zig, zag, go. Zig, zag, go. Zig, zag, go. Zig, zag, and go. Just like that. All right, let's get this eye. And his nose. And I'm going to do the cheek next. And then this cheek right on the outside. And then actually I'm going to switch up to one of these smaller pens. I'm going to get the one out. I'm going to do his mouth. Oh, let me put this pen down. There we go. All right, I'm going to erase a little more. And we've got nice, clean Pikachu to work with. There we go. How's yours coming along? Okay, so let's go ahead and keep going with Pikachu, get some color on him. I'm going to get my yellow Chromatech, this yellow, and then I'm going to get lemon yellow, and let me see if I can find golden yellow. That's marigold and golden yellow for a little bit of the darker spots. All right, start filling Pikachu in. For some reason, I always like to start with his ears. Like that. Then get his head. And remember, this is watercolor, so we're going to get the water pen out and blend them about. So you don't have to get it exact. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and just do big strokes like that. Get his feet, and then I'll show you. We'll see together how you can be kind of quick, and then watch what happens. I get my favorite water pen out. Out of this kit, my favorite water pen has the flat edges. So I've already got water in mine, so I'm going to get to work. And just start blending those colors. And this watercolor paper will help your art turn out pretty fantastic. See already as we're getting some nice watercolor effect. Nice and easy. And if we need to add more ink, more paint, we can do that. It's a little bit uneven, but that's the beauty of watercolors, is that it gives it texture. And the other neat thing is that you can always go back and add more paint. Which is exactly what I'm going to do now. Okay, I'm going to look in the picture, and I'm going to pause. I'll be back in 1/2 a second. I needed to get a paper towel to wipe off my brush. All right, so let's look at adding some golden yellow in the shaded areas. So do you see, this time I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to do it. You look at the shading areas and you do a little bit darker. All right, let's do it together. All right, how'd you do? Now I'm going to get the water pen and watch what happens when you blend two colors together. This is why I wanted to use this watercolor paper. It just does better with the actual watercolors. You can just tell it what to do. I want it to go a little bit around the body there. See, wasn't that easy? And again, the neat part about watercolor is if start advancing along with our picture and we see it's like, oh, you know what? I see that he needs a little more color. You can add watercolor, a little more. This one I want to be a little bit like a easier border there, so I'm going to try to work that paint together so it doesn't have such a sharp line. There we go. Yes, that's nice. There we go. All right, let's see if we can get Pikachu's face going. So I'm going to get a pink and another pink. Let's see what pinks I'm getting. I'm going to get bright pink and light pink. So with light pink, I'm going to get his tongue. And then with bright pink, I'm going to do his cheeks. Then I decided, now that I can see those colors, I'm going to get a little bit more red, vermilion. And I'm going to touch the top of the cheeks with the vermilion and definitely the inside top of his mouth here. Super nice and easy. Only going to touch the cheeks, just one little circle-y, one little circle-y here, and the tiniest little touch. Get a little bit of water in his mouth. All right, perfect. And if you've been doing a couple lessons with me, you know that I like to say that it seems like Pikachu comes to life when you do his eyes. So I'm going to get my black marker out. I'm going to warm my hand up a little bit by getting his top of his ear. Get his other ear. And let me see if I can get those eyes without having to get the white POSCA. So we want circles left kind of on the inside top. So I'm going to start by leaving a bigger space like that. Fill in here. And then a bigger space like that. Fill in here. I can fix the bottom of that circle that wasn't quite perfect. And try to round that out. Hello, Pikachu. I see you. There he is. Hi, Pikachu. Look at that. Pretty similar. Pretty similar. How'd yours come out? All right. So, let's get a little rock underneath his body. And we'll see what happens. And if you're a beginner, good job. And if you want to stop here, thanks for drawing with us. Be sure to subscribe so you can come back maybe later today, definitely tomorrow, and we'll draw another Pokemon character or a custom. Thank you very much for being a part of the Rabid Pikachus, and have a great day. If you're staying to do the background, let's get to work. All right, I'm going to get my Tombow out. I'm going to sketch in a rock that Pikachu's standing on. So Pikachu in the picture is on a rock that's kind of slanted, and I drew his feet a little bit straight. So I'm going to make a rock about like that. Maybe where it comes up a little bit like this, like that. I'm not going to put a bottom on that yet. Then I'm going to make a little bit of line designs to make that rock. So see how this area looks like it's a chunk of rock. So I'm going to do a shape like that. There's a little bit of like moss or something that's like kind of like that. A couple cracks. Maybe a little bit of cracks here like that. Got some cracks looking like this. A little bit of like mossy something. Maybe half shadow. Something like that. Now, if you've never drawn a rock before, you're going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to get this blue-gray out. And, oh, not dark cyan. Let's get black. We'll get black out. So watch. I'm going to start by filling in this rock mostly in the light areas. And I'm going to do it not so much. That way we can spread it out and give it more texture so it actually looks like a rock. See, it's already looking like a rock. About like this. About like this. And that's why I didn't make a bottoms, because we're going to make that ink come down, the paint come down. And then I'm going to get the black, and I'm only going to do a few spots. I'm going to do here where there's definitely a shadow like this, and we'll get that paint and use water to pull that down the rock a little bit. And then here on the rock, it's a little bit of dark towards the bottom here. So watch what happens now. I'm going to get my water pen. Now I'm going to start here. Just going to gently start touching and lift my brush up a little bit to give it some rock texture. Like this, over here. Get into this black section over here.
I just beat Silence and Smash Bros.
Oh, hold on one second. David and Jacob, who are part of the Rabid Pikachus, are around the corner playing with their friend, and we talk to each other on the walkie-talkie. So that was Jacob. So back to art. Let's get this rock going, and you can definitely come out of the lines. Look how it's already looking like a rock. How cool is that? Have you ever drawn a rock before or painted a rock before? It's okay if some is light, some is dark, because that's exactly what a rock looks like. A little bit of light, a little bit of dark. I'm going to squeeze my pen right here because it's getting a little bit dry. Oops, I want a little more water. Just like that. Do you see how a little bit of water fell at the bottom? And that's fine because I can just use it to make that rock a little bit bigger. And watercolor paint loves watercolor and does all sorts of cool things. Look at that. There we go. Oh, that's about good. I like how that turned out. I'm going to get a little more black shadow here. And watch what happens when I get a little more from the pen while the page is wet. Just add it. Just like that. All right. Congratulations on drawing your first rock, if you've drawn your first rock. Okay. So in the picture here, we've got a field, and then we've got trees, a mountain way in the back here, a lot of sky, and then green and flowers. So I'm going to switch back to my pencil. I'm going to start sketching some room for what I want to have happen next. So we'll put the mountains. The mountain comes across from his tail, like here, which we didn't leave very much space, but that's okay. We're artists. We can make that different. So I'm going to make the mountain start here. And that mountain is like down, and then it comes up into his tail, and then it comes all the way out like over here. Just like that. And then these trees, let me get a little bit closer so you guys can see what we're doing. All right, there's a little bit of a dark horizon line. Let's make that horizon line about right here. About like that. You see what the horizon line is? It's where the, about here, the sky the main part of the border of the ground and the sky is going to start. So that's about what we've got here. And then we've got some trees, which are going to be just like bushy green things. About like that. 1, 2, and some in the front. 1, 2, like that. Oop, it's not in focus. And then we're definitely going to do some cool flowers here and cool flowers here. Let's get this pine tree on this side. About right here. You know how to draw a pine tree? Watch this. We're going to make him about, it's at a cool angle. The perspective is neat. So let's do that. Let's make that trunk about like this. And in this picture, we see that the top of the tree is about even with his eyes, and the bottom of the tree is about even with his hands. There's the bottom of the tree, and there's the top of the tree. And then we're going to use the watercolor pens, and we're going to make the branches like this come out. Okay? And then we definitely are going to need some mountains when we use the gray pen to get the mountains way in the background like this. And I'll just tell you a secret right now. Faraway mountains look good with light purple. So I might mix some light purple in here. And then the sky has got streaks like this. And we can do a couple streaks right now. And there's a color I like to use. Let's see, we'll use dark cyan. And we'll just get that sky started now. I'm going to use the pen really flat. And there's a cloud about right here. So I'm going to let the sky start coming out like this. And then I'm going to leave a space for that cloud. I'm going to let the sky. See how I made the cloud space by just going around where the cloud should be. About like that. I'm going to make some straight lines up and down, and then the sky continues this way again. I'm going to leave a lot of space for the clouds. Coming in like this. Alright, and then definitely I'm going to get sky blue. Where is my sky blue? So many colors. This is heron blue. And my sky blue should be right next to sky blue. So let's get a little bit of sky blue. I'm going to do the exact same thing. Let's lay it really flat. About like this. And leave lots of space for the sky, for the clouds. And we can make a few more clouds just by not painting around. Okay. Now let's see if I have a light. I don't have a light purple, but let's experiment. There's a midnight blue, and here's a violet. I'm going to use the violet, and I'm only going to touch the top of the mountains with a very thin line. So you use just a very, very fine tip of your paintbrush, and I'm going to watch this, just barely touch it. It's like that. I'm going to let it come a little bit bigger here, like that. All right, now watch what happens when we get our water pen. I've wiped it off because I don't want black in the sky. And it's okay. I'm going to squeeze it so there's plenty of water in this area. And just start making the sky. Look at that. The sky just... These pens are almost magic for making a good sky. Leave some space for clouds. You'd almost be done making the sky like that. I'm going to go a little bit more. Try to even this out so it's not so many streaks. Try Try to get the sky a little closer to the mountains. Really, really light blue. Leaves room for the pine tree. All right, let's stop and let's let that dry and see what happens as we move on. I'm going to wipe my pen off and I'm going to touch the mountains, but this time I'm going to make sure to bring all the paint down like this. And it's okay if there's a little bit of paint here because the tree's going to cover it. Go ahead and do that little mountainy section there. And this is a little bit darker. So I'm just going to make a straight line like this. And then there'll be more gray for that mountain that's way back. Look at that. Look at that. Do you feel like an intermediate level or like a beginner +1 yet? You should, because you're doing a great job if you're following along. All right, let's see what we can do next. Let's get some trees in the background. So let's get a couple of greens. There's grass green, that's yellow green, emerald, and grass green. And I'm going to start on this side. Okay, let's get these trees. And I'm just going to make, it's kind of darker. This last tree is a little bit darker, so I'm going to use the darker green like that. I'm just going to make it squiggly like this. And this one a little squiggly. And there's a little bit of darkness in there. And that tree comes up like that. And a little bit of tree comes over like this. Probably not going to let the pen touch up there. Just like that. Okay, I'm going to switch greens now. Let's see what this one's like. Grass green. How's that compared to that? A little lighter. So we're going to do a little squiggly like that. Come over here, and then the very lightest one, this one is yellow, green, and we'll just fill in the places that didn't get any. Come out like that. Now, we get our pen again. I'm going to make sure it's clean. Make sure I'm not putting the card in. And I'm just going to really gently touch here, but I'm not going to touch where the green went over the purple. Just so that it can stay like that. But these I'm going to touch and blend like that. See how they already look like trees? Can make that one come up a little more. Like that. And like that. And it's okay to bring your green down because we need to make this field of flowers in a little bit. So I'm going to let that green come all the way down like this. All right, I'm going to wipe that off, and I'm going to get the brown. Let's see, which brown do I want? I want a lighter brown, which is usually sienna. Let's use sienna. I'm going to, even though you don't see the tree trunks in the picture, I'm going to make a couple of tree trunks. Nice and easy. Just barely, because the trees are far away. I'm going to make just a couple of lines like this, a little bigger at the bottom, and that's really all you need to do. Maybe a couple of branches coming up, just like that. There you go, a little forest in the background. Let's get that mountain in there. How does that mountain look? It's got some bright purpley and grays. Let's see what we can do. Purpley. And where's that blue-gray? Let's see if that can get us some mountain rock looking things in the back. So I'm going to start by touching the purple and then bringing it down over the gray. Touch the purple. try not to get it into the green, but if it mixes a little bit, that's fine. I'm going to do about like that. I might come back later with a little bit of some shading on top of that. I'll let that dry for now. Okay, let's get this big pine tree on this side. And let's get the same greens. We had, let's see, grass green, emerald, and grass green. Let's start with that. And it's got a little bit of yellow, so we'll go do some yellow highlights. There's two. I don't know if I want to make two. I'm going to make one big one. Watch how I start this. So you go boom, 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 back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, like that. And with this one, about like that. About like that. Maybe a little taller. Like to about there. And now, let's see what happens when we start blending that. Will we get a pine tree? Is it Christmas out here? You can see the mountain through the tree a little bit there, and that's okay. And we're definitely going to put brown down the center. What do you think? That looks like a pine tree. Is that the first time you've ever made a pine tree? There we go. Let's get brown trunk. Come back to the sienna. Start kind of fat and go up in there. Yeah, it's got some branches kind of come out like that. And one more time, just touch it with the water pen. Get that to blend. Good job. There we go. We got our tree. Now I'm going to take a peek at that sky. I really like how that sky turned out. Did your sky turn out like you wanted it to? You can add a little more color if you want. But that is about what we want. All right. I'm happy with the sky. I want a little more color. So I'm going to get sky blue again. Heron blue. Where's my sky blue? Where are you? And I'm just going to touch a little more here. Where there's already some, I'm going to put a little more. Maybe a little more right there. All right, and let's get that blended in. Be really careful not to touch Pikachu with the sky blue because yellow and blue makes green. You don't want a green Pikachu right now. But if it happens, that's okay. You're an artist. And that's just what happens sometimes. When we're getting close to done, I'll show you a trick about really making those clouds pop. And we'll do that with our shadow pens. Tombow shadow pens. I think that's about good for the sky right now. Blend that just a little more. There we go. All right, now we need to put a lot of green in the front so we can make a bunch of yellow flowers on top. So we've got a green field. So I'm going to use that very light green called yellow green, which is right nearby. Here we go. Right, so I'm going to lay the pen flat again to get a lot of coverage. Look at this, or as much as I can. That looks cool, just like that, just putting some lines down. Get on this side too. All right, let's get that blended so it has a chance to dry, and then we'll start drawing flowers. And I've got a special technique for drawing flowers I want to teach you this time. I don't want this too wet, so I'm not going to squeeze the pen like I did for the sky. Just going to very gently blend that. Kind of starting to look like it's far away, the trees and the mountains. And if you don't already know, this trick is that when you are painting a background and you want something to look far away, it has less detail. So we don't really have to put much more detail in the mountains far away or the trees far away if we don't want to. If you want them, that's fine. But that's just, a lot of people do it that way, where there's a little less detail and it makes it look further away. All right, almost done blending. I'm happy with that. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so I'm going to get one of my liners out. I think I'm going to get the number 1. I already have it out. Number 1. All right, the number 1. Now watch. I'm going to show you my technique for drawing flowers. So we've got a big one in the front, a couple big ones in the front. So I'm going to do this. Watch this. And you can make flowers any way you want to. So this is how I make flowers in the front. Boop. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, like that. Or like that. Or like this. Or like this. Or like this. You can make flowers any way you want to. And then as they get further away, they're smaller. And if you want a big one in the front, you can do that. And you can do this way. A couple more small ones further away. Small one here. Another small one here. Now let's get some color in these just so we can see how cool they are. All right, in the picture they're yellow, but I like different color flowers. So I'm gonna get some bright reds and oranges and purples, and this one rose carmine. I'm gonna do this one on the front, rose carmine and orange. Rose carmine, and an orange center. And then while I have the orange out, I'm going to do this one orange. And this center orange. And these orange. And how about this is a special blue. How about a little bit of a bluish green like that? This one can have blue. Oh, we definitely need a yellow flower. Let's get a yellow flower in here. How about this one? It's gonna stand out as yellow. How about put a red center in that one? And then how about this flower be red? And this one be red. And what other colors do we like? How about a dark blue flower for this? And that can have like a yellow center. Yellow and blue makes green. Okay. And pink. Pink. Pink like that. All right, now I'm just going to only touch some of those flowers a little bit. Watch what happens. Oops. There's one. Oh, paper towel go. There it is. Clean the brush off a little bit. This one. You can make 100 flowers if you wanted to. I just want to show you real quick. I love making flowers this way. And you don't have to stay in the lines, which is neat. And I'm going to make this one blue. And I'm going to give him some stems. And I'm going to make more flowers. I'm going to make a couple more yellow ones. Get my pen back. And if you need to see this again, to see where there's flowers, and they're all yellow with an orangish center. Let's make some yellow with orangish center, kind of like they did here. Let's try to do like that. They do like this, right? They go like bloop, 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 bloop with a circle. Let's do a couple like that. It's a circle. About one more here. Bloop, 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 bloop with a circle. Another one here. I'm just going to make a couple tiny ones that are just going to be like little, like that. Now, I'm going to switch to this side. Let's see what we have over here. A lot more yellow. So let's see if we can look at that shape again and get some ideas about how that looks. We can try to copy any of those, but you know, it has a design like that. Like that. We can do that. We can do another one here that's kind of like a bowl. It's smaller, like that. And then make that one a little bit bigger stem. And this one, way over here, kind of has a part that sticks up like that. And then a loopy loop, like that. And then I'm going to do some small ones that just circles like this. One of these kinds. Another one like that here. Another one over here, but a bigger one like that. A couple other smaller ones, medium ones. Let's see what happens if we do most of those with yellow and orange in the center. Yellow, 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 yellow all the way around. I'll just do like that. Yellow. Yellow, yellow, and yellow like that. Let's get the orange. What do we have? Marigold is a good orange. And marigold's a flower. All right. One more time with the water pen. Just get those blended and see what happens. I really want more orange in the center. So I'm going to find orange. There we go. That's what I want. What happens if I just make a dot around that? Like that. Oh, we got some more flowers over here. I'm going to do the same over here. Orange center. Just some dots. Flowers that are way out. Watch this. And just put some more way out there. Some way out here. Just touching it. Just touching the paper. So it looks like there's flowers that go way out there. Okay, let's get the orange in the center. Heat these two. And then back to yellow. We're getting close to being done. We're going to blend these and then make some green stems and then double check everything. Blendy, blendy, blendy. Blendy, some of those. I'm not going to blend those in the back. Now blend these. This one a little more. There we go. Let me get a green. Get some stems. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Oh, there's one flower. Let's leave that one like that as a special flower. And let's get some orange on this one. And we won't blend it since we did a good job. There we go. And get some stems on here. Isn't that a happy Pikachu picture? That's what we started from, and this is what we got. And I think we can call that done. How'd you do? You like how your sky turned out? You like how your background turned out? Did you learn a new way to do some special flowers? Well, thank you. Thank you again for drawing with me. Thank you for being a part of the Rabid Pikachus. Please come back. Please subscribe, and you can come back maybe later today. We'll do another art. Definitely tomorrow. Thanks for watching.